Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. My kitchen is quite small and I want to create some extra space by getting some bits up on the wall. I've got these couple of bits of live edge oak that I've been holding on to for years, so I think this is a good project to use them on. My plan is to make two racks, one that can hold pans and one for utensils. I first get them roughly marked out to the length I want, and then I can roughly cut them to that size using the jigsaw. The piece's still got bits of bark on and I want to get that removed, so it took a bit of chiselling to get it all off. With it removed, I can then start getting the pieces flattened, so I get one side and one edge done on the planer. I can then reconfigure the machine and get both boards brought down to the same thickness. Normally I'd clean up the fourth side on the table saw, but I want to keep this as a live edge, so I give it all a sand down. I need to make a bar to hang everything off. To do this I've got some 3mm steel bar and it's got lots of mil scale on it, so first I get out the wire wheel and try and clean it off with that. That was taking a while, so I use one of these abrasive discs and they work amazingly well. I'll put a link down below to this along with some of the other tools that I use. With the bars all cleaned up, I mark out on both ends where I want to put some bends. I can then get it mounted in the metal bender and make the first bend at 90 degrees. With the first bends done, I mark up where I want to put a second bend so the ends are dog-legged. This one was a bit more tricky to make, but luckily I had a die that would just about let me do it with this bender. With two pieces bent up, I can then go back into the workshop, mark out, and then get a hole drilled so I can get this bolted to the wood. To make it look a little better and make it more secure, I'm just going to cut some mortises for the ends of the brackets to go, so I mark out where they need to go, then I can get a spiral upcut bit put into the router. I set the plunge depth to the thickness of the steel, and then I can start removing the waste. I get most of the wood removed, but I just go shy of the line. I can then use a chisel to go up to my line, leaving some nice clean edges. It was an 8mm hole I put in the steel, so then I can drill through the wood with an 8mm bit. So this will sit flush with the wall, I need the nut at the back to be recessed, so I use a Forstner bit to drill down the depth of a nut. I can now get them put together, so the bar goes into the mortises and then I can get a bolt tapped into place. On the back goes a washer and a nut and everything gets tightened down. To attach it to the wall, I'm going to use some of these brass inserts, so I drill some shallow 10mm holes and then they can get tapped into place. To finish it, I'm going to use the trusty old Danish oil and I'm going to go over everything, the steel and the oak. So now to get them installed, I get a couple of holes drilled for the first one, but this one's going to hold some pans which is going to have quite a lot of weight on it, so I'm also going to put some construction adhesive on the back. Then it can be screwed in place and left 24 hours to dry. Whilst I wait for it to dry, I can start work on some S-hooks. I've got loads of scraps of brass round bar, so I'm going to get loads of those bits cut down to the same length. The cut ends need a little bit of a clean up, and I'd like to add a tiny chamfer, so I get them chucked up in the drill and give them a sand with a bit of emery cloth. I can now use my smaller metal bender to get the S's bent into shape. This bender will make tight bends, but it's hard to do 2 of those bends on a piece this small, but I got them as bent up as well as I could. But they're not quite as closed as I'd like them to be, so I then get them put in the vise and just give them a squeeze to close those S's up a little. Now with the hooks done and the adhesive dry, I can get everything put into place. One rack goes above the sink. Now all my pans are easily accessible, and then I've got a second rack for all my utensils to go on. So that's them all done. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreons, and please subscribe for more videos.